I had the choice to change in the moment. I actually want to speak when I have something to say. And this is what is actually most natural. What's most natural is when you have something to say, you speak. When you don't have something to say, you stop. What's unnatural is when you say something and you feel like if you don't say something, you're going to lose their attention. What's natural when it comes to the way that you speak to women? Well, basically, you have to look at what is your normal tone when you're speaking to others. Because if you become very aware, you'll notice that when you're walking up to women, it changes. You move from natural to unnatural in the way that you speak. What inspired this video is simply, what is the reason for what I do when it comes to helping you guys understand yourself in relation to women? And what came to me is actually the thing that I only want in life, is to move from unnatural to natural. And I started thinking about what are some of the ways that men are unnatural. Or not even men, all people, but we're going to stick on the topic of men. What is one of the ways that men are unnatural? And you yourself is probably a man. And what hit me was how fast we speak when we go speak to a woman. We speak very fast simply because we're reacting to the feeling that's happening on the inside. We move from natural to unnatural. Like this. When I think about myself in the past, I think about how did I used to speak and how do I speak now? When I would be speaking to others, I would still feel that feeling of going too fast. When I found myself in front of women that I liked, and maybe my heart was racing, even relaxed, I still was speaking too fast. And I just went down a path of, is this actually the natural way to speak? This is the path I went down. The way that I speak now, is this the natural way to speak? And what gave me clarity was, what is my relationship to silence? What gave me clarity was, why do I always want to speak right away when the girl asks me a question? These things started to give me clarity because I knew that I wanted to speak in the way that felt most natural to me. Because one could say, you were speaking natural. The way you were speaking before was natural, and now you're speaking unnatural. That you speak too slow sometimes, Tony. That you're speaking unnaturally. And I tell you, no, this is the most natural way that I speak. Why? Because something I noticed was, sometimes I speak when I'm feeling something. My heart racing, other things happening inside of me. Uncomfortable sensations. Sometimes I speak. What I also noticed was when I was in front of a woman, I felt like I had to speak at a certain pace. I felt like I didn't want to lose her attention. I felt like if it got silent, she would then walk away. And in those times, it would make me start speaking in ways that are unnatural. I noticed what I wanted to do was not rush to fill that space. Not feel so scared that I just have to fill the space. So I just went, what do I actually want to do at this time? Because something you always hear me say is, the moment you get vision, now you have choice to change. I had the choice to change in the moment. I went, I actually want to speak when I have something to say. And this is what is actually most natural. What's most natural is, when you have something to say, you speak. When you don't have something to say, you stop. What's unnatural is when you say something and you feel like if you don't say something, you're going to lose their attention. This is then moving into unnatural. Anytime when you're doing something where you feel like you're doing too much, where you feel like your energy is now being extended too far. And that's an act. It mainly is done from reactivity. It's only done from reactivity. You may notice yourself doing the same thing. Speaking even when you know you don't want to. Because you feel like you have to speak. Because you feel like the person asked me a question, so I have to say something right now. The girl's gonna, sorry, you have to forgive me, I have a little cold. The girl's gonna walk away if I don't speak right now. All not true. So what did I do in those moments? I started standing in front of women, and when I felt like I wanted to say something because I'm gonna lose their attention, I just stopped. When I felt like, I better say something because I'm gonna lose their attention, I just stopped. Something very different started to happen. Not simply with the girl, but with me. I started to see that I actually have more power when I'm just saying what I want to say. And when I don't have anything to say, not speaking. Sometimes that means that there will be a silence that's 5 seconds, a silence that's 10 seconds, sometimes even longer than that. But it is no longer my duty, like I thought it was. It's no longer my duty to hold the space, to say something in the silence so I don't lose her attention. I started to notice that women started responding differently to me as well. They started to go, why are you looking at me like that? They started to react in different ways. Some negative, some not negative. But at least they start giving me the truth of how they really felt around me. At least I started to show them the truth of how I really want to be. Of how I don't want to just say stuff just to say it. I don't care about filling the silence just to fill the silence. All things that I think men do all too much. Men are speaking too much when they're in front of women. You probably are speaking too much when you're in front of women. You probably are. Simply because you don't want something bad to happen. Same thing like I thought. It's unnatural to speak that way, though. I have to tell you, it is unnatural to speak like that. I thought it was natural, but it's simply not. Because what you'll go is, you know what? My pace is talking like this. My pace is moving like this. I do feel like my natural pace is going back and forth. But I would ask you, okay, if that's really your natural pace, I want you to slow down for a moment. Look at when you're speaking to a woman. Do you feel like you always want to keep it going? You always want to keep it exciting, arousing. This is an indicator that this is not your natural pace. If you are always thinking about arousal, attraction, making the girl feel good, if you're always thinking about these things when you're there in flirtation, if you're always thinking about this, you're missing out on what it means to be natural in front of women. So what is the thing that I want you to do? Move from unnatural to natural. And the speed at which you talk. It's normal to talk at the normal speed. But what is the normal speed? The normal speed is in relation to your relationship to silence. Do you feel space when you don't have anything to say? Are you quiet when you don't have something to say? This will let you know about if you're being natural or not in the way that you speak. So, what do I say? I say, start to understand what it means to be natural. Why do you think so much I talk about the natural breath? Your natural pace is much different than you think. If you want to start really being natural with women, start understanding what does it mean to be natural. Not to become a natural, but to be natural.